What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning, yes, Anthony Joshua. Get this. Anthony Joshua states that on training in the U.S. versus the U.K., he says, I learned that I don't work hard enough. Anthony Joshua started increasingly getting embedded in the United States boxing culture shortly after losing to Alexander Usyk during their first encounter. Coached by long-time trainer Rob McCracken, at the time, the British boxer Joshua engaged in a U.S. tour and had training sessions with Robert Garcia, Eddie Reynoso, Ronnie Shields, and Virgil Hunter, amongst others. Joshua ultimately settled for Garcia and had one fight together. The rematch lost to Usyk before splitting with Garcia. Now, this is what he had to say. He said, honestly, only from my experience, I'm not going to speak on the whole UK boxing before so they start attacking me. I just believe the work rate, Joshua said. I believe American fighters like Mexico have amazing fighters, a lineage, history. America has just so much more amazing history. They work a little harder in America. A lot of Americans come over to the UK. It's a shame they beat British fighters. When I became champ, I wanted to showcase that we need to put some respect on the UK side. That was my ethos. Americans are so well respected. We need to build our own respect on our own soil in the UK. But now I'm out there in the US. I can see why they get respect, the top fighters, and it's not by luck. They put in work. Being in America, I've learned now, being able to work alongside some of the great fighters in the U.S., that environment, that gym, they push me hard. I learned that I don't work hard enough. I had to step up my game for the second camp with James. A lot of coaches have their philosophies, but I've got my philosophies as well. When I've changed coaches, I've learned to solidify my philosophies and become more free. You always think about what the coach is saying, said Joshua. Those are the words of AJ Joshua, and let me counterpunch. He's gonna get some slack for that one. Slack, flack, stick. He's gonna get it. Because the first thing people are gonna say is, well, you know, speak for yourself, because Tyson Fury is still undefeated, isn't he? But Tyson Fury, we don't really know how he trains, because he lies about training and lies about training camps and all that other shit. So we don't know how hard he really works. But we do know that Anthony Joshua was the UK poster child of training. And now he comes to America and he says, well, hey, I don't think that I train enough. So get this. They work harder over here. This is what I think. I think different training is having to adapt to different types of training. You're accustomed to certain training in the UK. You know, he does a lot of weights. He does a lot of lifting, where, calisthenics are maybe secondary to him, whereas hard work and grit and combinations may be the strong point or the primary over in the US, how Derek James does it. And I think adapting to those type of techniques and trainings, I think, is what he's saying. Because when you go with someone else, they're always going to expect you to do something else. But I do see the element of comparison, because he'll see someone like Errol Spence. He'll see someone like Frank Martin. You'll see Ryan Garcia. You'll see a lot of those guys in that camp that do put in work, and they do train like the Dickens. And seeing those guys, it may be different over in the U.S. versus in the UK. I think a lot of that is just gift. But yeah, you do have to train too, and if he's looking for trouble, he may have it, because it almost seems though like he's talking about people in the UK don't train hard enough. But he did specify, hey, for me, I think that these fighters in America, since I've trained with Americans, fight or train harder. That's what people are going to look at. They're going to see that way. It's not going to be anything else about that. I think it's going to be a situation where people are going to look at AJ and say, hey man, since you're over in the U.S., that you're really dealing with that type of difference that you think they're better than us. And I'm not really sure, but fighters in the U.S., I think they train based on necessity, based on conditioning. Guys like Usyk, though, Vasyl Lomachenko, I think they have a different type of training, and I think the different training means that I think the different training has meaning. So I think at the end of the day, she don't shut up, will she? But at the end of the day, people have to adapt to different training gyms because certain people rely on certain things. So I'm not sure about the Americans train harder, but I know some Americans train hard because great fighters know they have to train hard in order to be where they are and where they were, or get to the point to be where they're going to be in the sport. So I think AJ is learning, like, hey, if I need to be this way, I need to stay this way, so I need to train this way. Okay, so, but to add to that, Robert Garcia said that, he wanted to leave that training camp because he didn't like how it was ran. And after that fight with Usyk, the one fight that he did train he was in that corner with AJ, he did mention, well, what AJ's going to need, he's going to need to be with other fighters, and he's not going to be looking like the king dingaling that everybody just looking at him laugh and do whatever he wants to at a certain pace, probably throughout the whole day. See, this is what happens, though, okay? I've seen people in the gym when they do train, and when they train, it's like, oh, okay, they may do this and then hang out and have a conversation with somebody, sit out, drink some water, then they'll do another set of whatever. Well, people on a time frame, and they don't need rest. Rest conveys time, and I think when you do it all at once, and you have to do it all at once, that makes you more tired. And I think because Derek James has more fighters, he doesn't have time for that one guy like AJ to sit around and drink Gatorade and talk and do this, and then later on and chill and have a conversation and then do that other exercise. Well, no, he has to do them all at one time. Since he has to do it all at one time, he knows that, hey, this shit is really challenging. You know what I mean? So I think that's all in the comparison in fighting in a circle of fighters versus just you being by yourself and everybody catering to you. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Anthony Joshua stating that he doesn't work hard enough and the USA has taught him that. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!